Hi there, listener. You're about to experience TADPOG. Tyler and Dave play old games, and there will be plenty of game talk, but also copious amounts of crude, off-color, offensive, and immature speech. So if you are of a rather sensitive humor constitution, we're just letting you know what you're in for with this show. It has games. It has jokes. You know, just games and jokes. Take the games, take the jokes, and have a good time.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to another TADPOG podcast. It's a show that happens twice a week where two old guys, one guy the same age as the oldest guy, and one girl who is dramatically younger.
Not dramatically.
But I mean, Nicole still by default is the rather young lady. So the other pretty much rather younger lady.
All right. I'll take it.
Talk about old games. This week, it worked out. It was fortunate that Jacob and Galen were able to come into town.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
So there's an episode where we're just going to talk about some shit.
Yeah, we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, so
I'm
maybe
looking forward to this.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've done like a what we've been playing kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think, there's a lot of, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. We might take some calls, but mostly it's just going to be,
Just make it out.
I got swag
just make
bucks.
it
out.
I got swag bucks running on
No,
my phone.
you're not in it, Galen. You were not in it.
I don't get to make out.
There's no way we can take calls, man. I got play school ads running on that fucker.
we'll just play my voicemails.
Or I've got
And that's how
call
I
from
will
my
answer
grandma and CVS telling me my prescription's ready.
Yeah.
Because those are the only people that leave me voicemails anymore. Well, but first, before we get into all of that, we have a Tadpog package that I expected it to really
What?
only have Charles Ard in it, but it had
Okay.
way more shit than Charles Ard in it.
Okay.
So, sent to us by Mike Lanham of Fuck Taryn and then Dumped Her fame.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Oh, my God.
No,
really?
we've talked about that.
Oh, yeah.
But this package he sent is better than any loot crate I've ever had. So he can treat Taryn however the fuck he wants to. Don't care.
Clearly he does anyway. So
Taryn, you know where you stand.
I'm super glad she might not. Oh, no. I hope she won't listen to this episode.
no, she definitely
No, I
listens
made
to
these
this
jokes to her right before we started. So
Thank
Start
God.
'em.
they're friends now. So everything is
okay,
good.
okay.
Oh,
Cool,
okay. All right. Okay.
Sweet.
So in this package, there was a Charizard amiibo, which is now on my wall over there.
Charles Ard.
Yeah, I see him.
So
Right next to the Pokemon games. It's good placement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in here was a scroll that is a long, gorgeous scroll of Pokemon through the years.
Hey.
It's all their games and the starter Pokemon from 2004,
Is
or,
it
I'm
the-
sorry, 1998 until 2013.
Is it
Nice.
the 14 years or whatever it took Snorlax to get up? Is that on there?
Yep. So I like that a whole lot.
I love you, Squirtle.
And then there was a second one in there, and this one is Mario, 1985
Hey.
through 2015, from his first game until Mario Maker.
Awesome.
Nice.
Let's see. Also, a GameStop exclusive Sonic Boom figurine. Sonic with the ancient crystal. He has articulated joints, and this is inspired by the video game.
Okay.
As opposed to the animated series.
Yeah, on the back, it's got that huge Knuckles, only he looks like a big goon, so I think it is the
doesn't-
animated series.
Weird. Yeah, it looks like Knuckles drank some ooze.
Yeah.
Because I think in the animated series,
Yes.
he's like big and kind of stupid.
Poor Knuckles.
So
But even Sonic looks sort of like teenage Sonic. Like I'm tall and
He went out for the football team.
I've got a keffia.
Soccer.
On.
I'm going soccer, right?
Soccer.
Yeah.
All right. He didn't make the football team.
Right. No, he
Yeah.
tried out, though.
He tried
He's a
out.
freshman.
He was like, well, maybe I could be a kicker.
Here's what I like that Dave, you probably have no interest in. It is a very nice metal Majora's Mask pin.
Oh, yeah. No, fuck that.
Hey.
I'll pass that around.
This is my engagement ring.
Some Nintendo
Don't-
Luigi, Princess Peach, Mario,
Don't joke.
Yoshi.
No jokes.
That's. Don't think I haven't asked Jacob to do that on the show so many times. So some nice Nintendo Post-it notes
Oh, hey.
that were in nice condition until I wasn't watching Kenna. So there's a big
Kenna.
bite mark.
Is this for teething?
Everything's for teething, to be fair. There is.
I can see the teeth mark.
I like this. There is a Destiny wristband, a Destiny lanyard, and a pin that says "Ask me about Battletoads."
Does he work at a GameStop?
I believe so.
Glad to see GameStop embracing the Battletoads.
Yeah, that
I like
makes
that.
sense.
Dave, this is the only part I knew that I'm like, Dave will want this. Mm-hmm. So it is a T-shirt
It's a Tweety Bird t-shirt.
that just says "Combat with a K."
All right, you're right. You know me.
This is a pretty great
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is
package.
good.
This is impressive.
I want stuff.
And then the rest is so many lanyards. So we are set for Dragon Con. 'Cause there's an Xbox Live lanyard,
An amiibo lanyard.
a GameStop Power Up lanyard.
I'm good.
We are a PlayStation Plus lanyard,
All right.
Wow.
a Wii U lanyard, and then an Amiibo lanyard with like this already attached thing of like all the first wave Amiibos.
Wow.
Cool.
How nice.
Did you guys have to wear ID cards with all your pertinent information in high school? Did you have to do that?
No. What?
I think that they went through a period where they tried to make that happen, but it didn't.
I mean, I have a high school ID with like my name, my face, and like
Yeah.
a barcode on it. But that's it.
We had to wear
yeah.
them on lanyards. So that's what I was
Oh.
thinking. I wish I would have had one of those lanyards at
Cool
the time.
lanyard.
Instead of the
Cool lanyard.
PTHS blue lanyard.
We had IDs, but I literally think the only thing you ever used them for was if you had your lunch money on them.
Oh, yeah.
You like scanned them to pay for food. And other than that, I don't remember ever using it.
I'm trying to think what we used them for.
I mean,
Did we scan them for lunch?
yeah, lunch,
Okay.
but that's it.
Yeah, these are no other real purpose.
It had a picture, our
Well-
name, and expected graduation date.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you had, in your year, you had the black and white shitty ones. That it was just like an awful dot matrix like printout of your face.
And I still keep it in my wallet.
Awesome.
To keep me humble because because it's a picture of me as like, circa 1996 freshman year
Yeah.
Jacob, and I look like a goob. So it's
I like how in every picture you could ever find of Jacob, no matter how young he is, he does have a small like finger width of facial hair on his chin. Like the first time I met you, no matter how much you shaved, you always had a 5 o'clock shadow of facial hair on your chin.
it's very dark.
I didn't
It's
know
my
this.
well my facial hair is just so dark. Except now because I'm starting to go.
Is
gray.
that your gypsy curse?
They put it on me.
Soul patch.
Soul patch.
Because I mean,
You're going to look like the lead singer of Sugar Ray.
I remember meeting Jacob and like I couldn't grow facial hair at that point, and like that guy's got stuff on his face.
Oh, that guy's
Oh
old
man,
and cool.
he's old and has done puberty.
I
I had achieved puberty.
I remember when I was in high school, there was a dude who had a beard, and I remember when I was in high school, beards were not like the beards are now.
Sure.
Beards are kind of like a different kind of thing.
It's a little trashy.
we
It's a little
couldn't have
trashy
them.
to
We
have.
couldn't have them. We could have mustaches for some
Yeah.
weird reason. But we couldn't have a beard.
That's
Doesn't-
interesting.
Yeah, like that never made any sense to me. And I remember like
It made
going,
kids look creepy that could
Yeah.
grow mustaches.
And the kids who couldn't looked even
Yeah.
creepier. Yeah.
and I remember going around with like with the people because I've always been kind of like not necessarily like a rabble rouser, but I have been someone who has been like, no, this rule doesn't make any sense. I need you to explain this rule to me. because this is super stupid, but I remember
Classic
going
rabble rouser.
Yeah, I remember going around with the principal at the time because I was like playing Jesus in a passion play or something like that. And I was
I
like,
thought that was a metaphor. So I was like,
Oh my
I was
God.
falling around. I was playing Jesus. I said, I don't.
We get it, Jacob. You were a martyr for the school. We get it.
I was like, let me grow a beard. Let me do it. They did. They backed off of it, but for long
Okay.
enough for
I could see it like a school in the Bible Belt.
And I
Yeah,
was
can
like,
imagine that's the way you
I'm
let
playing
it go.
Jesus. You have to.
I remember the.
I'm sorry, Dave. I completely interrupted you, though. You were in the midst of telling a story.
Oh, I was just gonna say, give a man a beard.
And he'll
That's it.
co-host a podcast.
That's what I did with Tyrone. I taught him how to grow his
Yeah.
beard, and now it's
Teach
one
a
of
man
his
to beard.
defining traits.
I had to sacrifice my hair for it, so
That's your gypsy curse.
transplanted.
I was just gonna say that my mom always made a comment about there was one kid in my high school who had a beard. He just had a beard, and he had a beard, Jacob, like you have a beard now. Like he had a man's beard, and like it was. He was older than me, so he never looked young to me. But I remember my mom would always, like, when she would see him, she would say to me, "That's an interesting stylistic choice."
I love it when parents throw shade.
And it totally was. And it, like, at the time, like, it was funny because I was, as we were talking about beards, I was thinking back, and it slowly dawned on me that that's exactly what my mom was doing. Because at the time, it was just like, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
It's really interesting. I should ask him about it because he's 2 years older than me. I bet he could teach me some
Maybe
things.
we'll be friends now. How'd you grow that beard, man?
Maybe he'll show me his dick like one time in the shower, and I'll be like, "That's the biggest dick ever."
Congrats.
Oh man.
That's my intro.
Oh, wow.
That's fucking my intro, too, man. I'm Dave. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm
Have
the
you even
spectacle.
said I'm Tyler, your bearded host?
No,
I
it's not.
No, did I thought I said that before?
Nope.
No.
I can't
Oh,
remember.
well, I'm your bearded host, Tyler, and I had that package.
Cool.
There you go.
I'm your bespectacle host, Dave, and I went to school with a guy who had a beard.
We are scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Welcome to episode 251, where we've run out of interesting things to say.
I went to school with a guy who had a beard. What? Strange, right?
That's crazy.
Anyway,
It's the most Canadian I think you've ever said.
listen,
He wore short pants and had all the loonies in the cargos.
Listen, buddy.
Anything happen to you guys? What's
you guys
going
know
on?
I never come in with an intro story. I always just come in ready to talk about the bullshit we're going to talk about.
Jacob opened a show last night.
I figured I would talk about all of that stuff at the end.
Well, fuck
but
you.
like, well, all right. Yeah, no, I opened a show. I'm doing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead at Nashville Repertory Theater in Nashville, Tennessee.
You had a good review, I saw.
Yeah.
I did.
Called
It
Outstanding.
called me Outstanding, which
Nice.
is
Tennessean.
yeah, that's a nice that's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like a good job by, shows well, or like outstanding is a very specific word choice, and that it's like how in my last show I felt very compelled to share the reviews for it because they called me superb, and superb is a very specific word choice that I want other people to associate with me.
I've gotten fine job a few times, which is like,
Mostly from your dad.
my dad.
See, I was gonna make the joke that like that's how people describe your oral skills, and then you made it really weird, Jacob. Right before I said that, you helped him with that, and like I can't piggyback that after that.
Fine job.
Well,
Says your dad.
although
Acceptable.
so okay, we
Satisfactory needs improvement.
one thing that we were talking about on the drive up here is that Galen and I are thinking about are trying to make this sort of big family vacation happen with her family to Disney World because we got the annual passes this year for Disney World because we were.
Did you win the lottery or something?
No, but we did. We sort of made the decision
the
because
opposite. We did the thing where you pay all the money for it.
Because that's expensive, right? I mean, that's like
That's pretty expensive.
We
Yeah.
voted Republican, so we did the opposite.
that's
Yeah,
what you get.
exactly.
The devil shows up in a puff of smoke and gives you passes to Disney World and then disappears in the bats.
congratulations, enjoy the dark reign of. I was about to say the dark reign of Ben Carson. I can't do that because
Oh
he's
my
the
God.
only black candidate.
No. Pretty dark.
But I like that last night on SNL, Michael Shea was like, I never thought I'd say this, but please don't vote for the black guy.
Oh my gosh, we could talk about Ben Carson all day, but I don't want to turn any of your listeners off. But we are trying to make this happen, and because we have the annual pass, I've talked to her family and said, maybe you guys would all like to go down and have like a big sort of like family vacation.
Family vacation.
And her, why don't you tell
my
them?
mom. Okay, so I've been talking to my mom about it, and we're trying to figure out whether or not we want to stay on park or whether we want to try and find a hotel just outside the parks in Orlando. And I found cabins. There's like cabins at the resort Fort Wilderness, which is on park. And I was like, oh, great, we can get a little cabin. But then in talking to my mom about it, she was like, I don't know. I mean, it has 2 double beds and a set of bunk beds. So like, and I was like, Mom, Jacob and I, Jacob will sleep on one of the double beds. My sister and I will take the bunk beds and you and Dad can take the other double bed. And she was like, no, we cannot share a double bed. And I was like, okay, that's fair. That's fair. She was like, I mean, we could share a king, but I don't know. We can barely sleep in a king-size bed together. And I was like, what? Do you know how big a king-size bed is? That's crazy. And she was like, no, your dad and I, we're getting older. We need our privacy.
We need
a lot of privacy. And I was talking about it, and I was saying to Jacob, I was like, I don't know how much fucking they're going to be doing that they're super concerned.
She was stressing privacy so much.
Our privacy. And then she said,
Your mama needs that Disney fuck.
I know. I was like, you can't keep it in your pants for 4 days when we're in Disney World.
No,
but
that's where you want to fuck the most, right?
I know.
I tried to give my parents privacy when we went on a cruise. My mom just laughed at me. Oh, we've been married for a long time. No, we're fine.
No, my parents are quite the opposite. My mom even said that she was like, well, listen, I get it. I am as fussy as I am because I am Barbara Crawley's daughter. So I certainly get being particular. But she was saying...
No, I thought you were going.
No, but she was saying, we need, she was like, we need at least 2 rooms, at least 2 sleeping areas, possibly 3. And I was like, we don't need 3 sleeping areas. Jacob and I can share a bedroom with Devin, with my sister. And she goes, no. I mean... a room for me, a room for your dad, and then a room for the
you
kids.
3 dickheads in one room.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous. This is crazy.
So anyway.
Now I'm extremely afraid that we're going to post the link to this and my mom's going to listen to this episode. I will be doing no posting of this.
Maybe they might just really want a couple swaps and they need 2 bedrooms so that they can trade.
So yeah, that's one. And she was talking about needing we'll just get an adjoining room, and I was like, I don't want to hear that. Because it's gonna happen. Yeah.
It's getting real now.
Have you ever heard your parents having sex?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so, no.
The interview begins.
Do you think it just didn't happen, or are they just very considerate of their children?
No, I think it's just that, I had a house. Mm-hmm.
We didn't live in a cardboard box.
No, we had walls and shit. My room.
Well, sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't know.
We didn't live in a shared field.
No, my bedroom was it was completely on the other side of
It's good planning.
Upstairs.
It's good planning.
But did occur to me, at one point when I was a teenager, pretty much every single Sunday, what it was the routine was we would go to church in the morning, go to our favorite Chinese restaurant in the afternoon, and then we'd come home and my parents would, go upstairs. And they'd go upstairs and be like, we're going to go take a nap. And they'd lock the bedroom door.
Yeah.
And Devin and I would sit downstairs. We'd watch TV and popcorn and apples for dinner. And it occurred to me literally when I was in college. I was like, they were having sex.
While we were eating popcorn and apples for dinner. They went up there to nap at 2 o'clock.
Oh my God. They were having sex.
I applaud your dad for just giving it to your mom for 6 hours straight. And like just sitting down a bag of popcorn and a bag of apples.
They didn't feed us.
They just roll them down the stairs.
Yeah. No, we didn't get fed. I was like, oh, fuck. But it was also like, man, good for them making that happen.
Yeah.
Every week.
Man,
To this day, the sound of apples rolling down the stairs still gives me weird feelings.
So bruised.
The take a nap euphemism is like, that's like the worst. Because I remember my grandfather saying that to my grandmother. And like, I remember the moment when it dawned on me what the fuck he was talking about. And like, I remember distinctly asking my dad, what does that mean? And he said, you don't want to know.
Just grabbing you by the shoulders, squeezing you so hard he leaves bruises.
Let's never think about it.
See,
We can bond on this.
Ever ask. Shut up.
See, my dad hates like noises so much that I imagine if my parents
Noises?
did have, yeah, just
Like any noise?
any noise. My dad hates it. He wears earplugs everywhere he goes. Like my dad hates noises.
Is your dad a 9-year-old autistic child?
We definitely now that I've like looked up tests, we firmly believe he's on the spectrum.
Okay.
all right.
But because I mean,
Randy.
I can also imagine, like, now, if my parents were having sex at any point when I was home, my dad was like, you shut up, shh, don't you make any sounds, don't you make any noises. For the kids, no, I just hate it.
Some people are into that.
You lay down flat, and I'm going to lay down on top of you. Put my wiener between your legs and rest it there until I achieve orgasm. Dan's just like, okay.
I'll set the timer now.
Egg timer. It dings. He comes. End of story.
Gotta go to work.
Egg timer.
Gotcha. I thought it was quiet fucking.
I thought it was just like
Yeah.
Very shallow, quick
Yeah.
fucking.
in and out.
Right.
It's not making a lot of noise. That's what matters.
Just ahead. We gotta be quiet. Yeah. So what you guys been playing?
Okay, so we're going to jump in with that. All
right.
Well, let's talk about something that we can share first and foremost, because as opposed to the one that we cannot
We can't share because someone's an asshole.
What? Well, Tyrone was kind enough because my Xbox and TV have been broken for the better part of a year.
It's been like
this
over
point.
a year now, I think.
Really?
It's been
Oh,
over a year.
You know, it's amazing the stuff that you find that you can just get along without. Although we have,
To be fair, we're not happy about it.
no, we're not. We can live with
I mean,
it.
like we're alive, but we're pissed.
Although we have sort of made the decision that this year for Christmas we are going to go in and instead forego gifts for each other, and we're going to go in together and get a television.
Yeah.
And and I am probably at that point going to buy an Xbox One because Fallout 4 will be out, and that I have claimed for a long time that is the game that will get me to buy a next gen system. So
Well, I think as much as I love my PS4, I think if for media consumption, Xbox One is probably the way to go.
yeah, and the backwards compatibility is such a big thing for me.
Yeah, that when I heard that, I was like, okay, now I'll buy an Xbox One since I
Yeah.
don't have a 360 anymore. So
but Tyrone, you were kind enough to loan us your laptop, and on that, we together played Bioshock Infinite and Burial at Sea. We won't be talking about Burial at Sea, but we will be talking about Bioshock Infinite, and particularly Galen's specific feelings about the Bioshock series, because it's been...
We have poor audio of our three feelings.
I was just about to ask, are we recording on the internal mic? Because it would be really cool since we're talking about
switch over.
Yeah, let's just switch right now. Jacob's here, and we're going to talk about Bioshock. So just for nostalgia's sake, let's fuck with the audio quality.
Let's make it sound like let's go back to the submarine.
Right.
Galen, you stand outside and just shout your opinions about Bioshock.
But and Galen probably watched me play about 15% of South Park: A Stick of Truth.
Which I would like to go on record as saying I'm super pissed about because I was really excited about that game and he played it all without me.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you weren't pissed about the game. You
No,
were
I
pissed
was
that you-
pissed that
As a Jew, she is very offended about the
I
game.
was super mad.
I do want to say one thing too, though, because I also played through Arkham Origins, and I'm so glad that I was just now reminded of this. I don't have anything to say about Arkham Origins that would not be considered a spoiler. Initially, I was playing through it, and I was like, I don't understand why people hate this game so much. I understand why it's frustrating sometimes, but I don't understand why people didn't like it. And then I finished doing all of the Riddler missions.
Is this for the third time? Because have you played?
Yes,
And you did the Riddler?
I did it all. Did it all for City and did it all for Asylum, and generally felt like the payoff was good.
Sure. I agree.
Was worth my time. Did you play through Origins?
I didn't play through Origins because I am a video game snob.
Sure. Well, the fact that it wasn't
And Paul
done by
Dini
Rocksteady
wasn't attached to it. That was Rocksteady didn't bother me so much, but the fact that Paul Dini wasn't attached to
Sure.
it was kind of one of those things. As like a comic book fan, it was like, okay, well, a creator that I respect didn't want to attach himself to this project, or they didn't want him to be involved. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm done with this franchise.
Well, I skip forward if you haven't played and for some reason feel very compelled to not have any part of Arkham Origins spoiled for you. You may want to skip forward. However, let me say, you want to hear what I have to say.
Riddler is Batman with amnesia.
But like skip forward, I guess maybe like 2 or 3 minutes. I was fine. And then I played through all of the additional Riddler content. All of the additional Riddler content, you have to unlock these radio towers so that you can fast travel to those locations. Then, whenever that happens, there are these signal jammers that you have to destroy. Probably like 5 or 6 or 7 signal jammers per district. And you have to destroy those so that you can find the guys who have the packets of information. You go and find the guys who have the fucking packets of information. Then they send you to find the actual packets of information. They just know the location. So we're talking about like 3 or 4 different steps.
This is like
between
a
it's all
World of Warcraft like quest chain. It
Oh
sounds
my
like.
God. It's such a fucking fetch quest. And it gets to the point where toward the end of it, it's like I'm doing over 100, 120, 150, somewhere in there of just like extra extraneous bullshit. But it's like, all right, well, but this is what you do. You beat the game. You complete it, you know? And I beat it, and the entire time it was like, well, you were able to stop the Riddler, but if you get everything, you'll get access to Riddler's special room. And I fucking got access to everything, and I went into Riddler's special room and got in there, and there was a fucking fake wall, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna blow up this fake wall, and I blew up the fake wall, and behind the fake wall is the first Riddler trophy. And that's it. And I finished, and my heart rate went up, and I was so mad.
Yeah.
He was furious. I was there as he was like finishing the game, and when he finished, he was like, "What? This is bullshit!" Just like threw the controller down
I
onto
did not
the
throw
couch.
the controller.
You like
The controller belonged to someone else.
No,
I did not
no.
throw the
Picked up
controller.
Tyler's
like-
laptop
no.
and was like throwing it around the
he
room.
like no.
Broke it over my
You
knee.
did like throw it on the couch, just like dropped it onto the couch angrily and like stood up and like stomped into the kitchen. And, like, I wasted all this time.
But because here's the thing, if you as a game designer set up a situation where you're going to make someone do a lot of stuff that is not fun,
Yeah.
then there has to be a payoff. That's the agreement that you make. And this was it just felt like such a fuck you.
Well, in the other games, I feel like getting the Riddler trophies is kind of fun because
Absolutely.
each one is kind of a puzzle where it's like you try to figure out how to use your gear and your kit to get the trophy.
And they have that, and that's fine. But finding all of the signal jammers and finding all of the indivial people,
the goons
to get,
who are like, yeah, the thing, it's over there.
Yeah,
go
it's-
get it, Bagman. Fuck you.
Yeah, basically. Those were 2 additional steps that were completely unnecessary, and on top of that, for it to be one of the most fun things, I'm going to discuss what happens with Riddler in Arkham Asylum. Skip forward like 30
Spoilers.
seconds. To hear the Riddler to hear him be arrested
Yeah.
was so satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredibly satisfying. And in this one, the fact that it's just, and I understand because it's a prequel and you can't like have him get arrested. You can't have him get shot in the head because he shows up,
Right.
in the first one. But like, I wanted something. I wanted some sort of payoff. And the fucking Riddler trophy is the worst payoff possible. Because on top of that, it's like, hey, here's this fucking thing that you are in the first game. You collected like 50 of.
Right.
These mean nothing. This is nothing. Oh God, it made me so mad.
How was the overall story?
Fine.
Serviceable?
Fine. Yeah. It was not. I ended it. I beat it and said, well, I understand why people have problems with this. And I still maintain that I see why people have problems with it, but I didn't think that it was awful.
Are you the kind of person, I know you said that you get all the Riddler trophies and all that. Are you also the kind of person that like finishes all the combat trials and stuff like that too?
No,
Okay.
no. I try and do all of the sort of story-based stuff.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I wanna squeeze everything I can out of the story, but if it just is like unlocking, additional bat suits and stuff like that, I don't really care. But yeah, this was, and the other part of it too is that I don't know that I would have necessarily done this, except for the fact that he was so perfectly done in the first game in Asylum, where I wanted to show him that he was not the smartest person in the world.
Oh, they did a really,
so
really
well
good
done.
job of
Yes.
characterizing Riddler in that game.
And I wanted to see him get his comeuppance. And I went into this one with the assumption of like, okay, well, they have built up this trust over 2 games, so it's worth it. And now I'm to a point where when I eventually play Arkham Knight, I'm assuming that there's going to be a Riddler subplot in there. And if there is, like, it's going to be a decision on like, should I do this? Should I waste an extra 3, 4, 5 hours of my life doing this thing?
By the language that you're using, I think you've already answered that question.
Well, I don't
You
like-
use the word waste, so.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to, because if the payoff is good, then it's not a waste.
But
And just
How are
But
you
now
know?
you now
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
have faith that
So
the
I don't
payoff
know-
is going to be worth it.
yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Isn't that the true riddle?
Oh, I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great job, Warner Brothers North.
So
did it.
what's up with Bioshock Infinite? You also did Bioshock Infinite?
Galen, go.
I just want to say first of all that
Oh, okay. And also, guys, this is going to be like riddled with spoilers for I
Yeah,
imagine.
so wait, we're not talking
probably.
about Burial at Sea?
No, we're not talking about Burial at Sea
Okay.
because Dave and Tyrone have not played Burial at Sea,
Oh,
correct?
what the fuck,
No, I haven't played it.
guys? Oh my god,
It's so...
it's beautiful.
Of course it's beautiful, but we can't talk about it.
We can talk about it. Just don't spoil it, right?
Well, no, but I feel
yeah,
like...
everything's a
I
spoiler.
feel like
just-
so much... Because
But if you do, we'll have audio of us murdering you.
something happens to...
We'll put it
to
behind the
me
paywall. It's fine.
Within the first...
Where Galen gets murdered. Last headphone show ever. Behind the paywall.
Because you...
Fund our bond.
the second room you go into in Burial at Sea, you look
Yeah.
to your left and there's immediately something that makes you go, oh my God. So like
Yeah.
it's
Burial at Sea
already.
I mean, it just wraps up the story of both games. It wraps up the story of Rapture and it wraps up the story of Infinite.
To me, it's required play.
Yeah, it's really. But if we're just gonna talk about Bioshock Infinite, still beautiful, still amazing.
Let me say this.
I
Let me
felt
say
every
this.
feeling known to man.
That to me, the required playing is Bioshock Infinite, Burial at Sea. You don't have to play 2.
But
I hear Minerva's Den is like the best DLC. though.
Minerva's
Yeah,
Dame is
I've heard that as
den.
well.
Minerva's Dame. Hey. Minerva's Den is also great. I did not like Minerva's Den as much as I liked Burial at Sea. And also, really, I think my favorite of the Bioshock games is Bioshock 2. I loved Bioshock 2. And I liked Bioshock Infinite a lot. I liked original.
You liked Lamb a
flavor
whole lot
Bioshock.
of time, didn't you?
I love Sophia Lamb. I love Lamb.
And that is a problem that I find with sort of what they did with Burial at Sea is that there's no acknowledgement of 2 even
Yeah.
existing.
Which sucks because I mean the world of BioShock 2 is phenomenal. I think with BioShock 2 they did an absolutely phenomenal job of expanding upon the world they had already created in a really organic way. It felt like, oh, we didn't see all of this stuff in the first game because we were playing a very specific trajectory. And in BioShock 2, you just get a more expanded view of the world. And I also really love that BioShock 2 is about a collectivist villain. It's about, because if BioShock 1 is sort of like the bad side of Ayn Rand and objectivism, BioShock 2 is about the evil side of collectivism, which is really cool. But Infinite. I'm talking about Infinite. I'm talking about BioShock Infinite.
Is 2 considered canon if there's no mention of it in a
I honestly
canon
don't
game?
know. I don't know.
Which is really weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think that that's sad, but that's also part of, I wonder if that's sort of Ken Levine being like, no, this is my story.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't know that he was, I'm sure that he was okay with the fact that BioShock 2 came out, but like it's definitively not his story.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's regarded as canon, but I know that there's no reference that I saw
Yeah.
in Burial at Sea to BioShock 2,
Yeah.
which is sad. But Infinite.
I don't even know where to start other than to just keep saying over and over again, it's so beautiful. Like, I don't.
Well, but I also
I don't
think that
know.
part of it is that I know that the listeners, at least if they've been with the show for a long time, they know mine and Dave and Tyrone's opinions of it. We have, we went fairly in depth in the BioShock episode. But I do think that I think that it's interesting your perspective on it, particularly because BioShock is the first game that you were like, oh, this is what video games can be. And
Yeah,
it made
yeah.
you interested in watching
Well, and
them.
for you to say like we played, I didn't play at all. I literally, when we talk about like Jacob and I playing games, it's Jacob playing a game and me watching like it's a movie.
And trying so hard to be like a good cinematographer.
Yeah.
and like sweeping vistas and like looking at stuff long enough to be like, did you read that? Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have that. If that's a play on YouTube, like if it's a cinematic playthrough of
Oh yeah,
Bioshock.
absolutely. Because the way that he got me interested in having him play Bioshock for me was he'd been talking about it's my favorite game, it's so beautiful, and I was like, and he played me a YouTube video of the intro to the first game. Of the plane crash
Yeah.
and going down in the lighthouse, and it was after
compelling.
and
There's
it
not a better
goes
5 minutes in
through-
the history of video
and
games.
it's amazing. And it goes through this YouTube tutorial goes through is it someone new and all of that. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? This is what I thought video games. I thought all
Bleeps and bloops.
yeah. I thought
Yeah,
well, I
I
thought
get it.
They were
all-
mysteries on the Titanic.
I thought yes, call back. Yes, I thought all video games. I thought all shooter games were like Call of Duty. I was like, I have no interest in that. I don't care about that.
Yeah, that's not, but definitely, like, that's not how real video gamers game, according to Josh Nance.
yeah, yeah.
Fuck Call of
Not a
Duty.
gamer.
Yeah, but so I loved Bioshock and I loved Infinite. And I think the thing that's so cool about Infinite is that it is still absolutely definitively a Bioshock game, but it sort of does the opposite of everything that original flavor Bioshock does.
Why do you think that is? I was wondering that too recently. And do you think it's because it's a game that has something to say? Because I think that's definitely part of it for me. Is it has some very opaque criticisms.
Yeah.
I think that part of it is that it has something to say, but I also think that I think that they just wanted to go as far away from Rapture as they could.
Yeah.
Or were games where so many games were following that like dismal, gray, bleak, like Bioshock Infinite was just like a splash of color on an otherwise gray backdrop of
Yeah.
gaming.
And it's also, and not only just is it different in terms of instead of under the sea, it's in the sky, but also in original flavor Bioshock, you're playing a protagonist that never speaks. And in Infinite, you're playing a character.
Yeah.
Booker talks. And like you're hearing him talk out loud and you're like, well, that's me. I'm saying that. That's me. He has a voice and an opinion. And whereas in original Bioshock, you are a vessel. And plus you've got Elizabeth, who is, of course, an incredible character. And an incredible character in that she's, off doing her own thing a lot of the times. You
Yeah.
walk into a room somewhere and she doesn't like follow right behind you. One of my
you don't
favorite
have to
things.
babysit her. She
Yeah,
is
yeah.
she's self-sufficient.
She's a person. There's a section not too long after you liberate her from the tower where she leaves.
Yeah.
She goes off and she's dancing. And the way Jacob plays, he goes into every single shop that he sees and looks and really like searches through the game, which I love because I like pretending that I live there. But so we were without Elizabeth for 20 minutes.
I love that she's never a burden either. Like that's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
favorite thing about Elizabeth is to me she never felt like a burden. It was always when she was there, I was glad that she was there.
And that they're very specific with that message. Elizabeth can take care of herself.
Right.
Yeah. You don't have to protect her.
I
And
think
as a
that
matter of
that's-
fact, she helps you.
Right.
And it's one of the most important things to build a relationship with a character that, the fact that and I hate to, this is going to be such a weird comparison, but it's like the dog in Fable 2 that, it's, you miss your friend
Yeah.
when he's not there. And I think that certainly, obviously, comparing Elizabeth to a dog is kind of a weird comparison, but, that companionship in a game I find is so rare, real, true companionship with someone that is, that is a product of the game.
Well, like one of my favorite things I've ever seen online is a YouTube video of a glitch in a Sherlock Holmes video game. And the glitch is Watson doesn't walk. Like the game, the way that it glitched was that Watson didn't walk. So he was your companion and followed you everywhere. But instead of walking behind you, he'll just stay somewhere and always be looking at you. But when you get far enough away from him that he has to follow you, he just appears next to you again.
So he's like a horror villain, like from a slasher or something.
It's a video
Have you
of
guys seen that?
somebody.
No.
Oh my
no.
God! It is screamingly funny because it's just Sherlock and you're just walking away and you're like looking behind you and Watson's
Looking at
standing,
Watson.
and like you're getting farther and farther away and Watson's getting farther and farther and farther away, and then you turn to your right and there he is, and he's right there, he's standing there just staring at you. And like, to me, that's and I mean, that's an extreme example, of course, it's a glitch, but in other games, if you have a companion, they're just kind of there.
Yeah.
They're just kind of there, and occasionally they'll be like, "What do you need?" And they're not really a person, or they're not really a character. They're just a thing that's there.
A companion cube.
Yeah. It's just a device. And in Bioshock, Elizabeth really feels like a character.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, you have arguments with her, you have disagreements with
Right.
her. She's not a sounding board. She's independent.
She's got her own game that she's playing.
Yeah.
She has her
You
own
sing
rules.
together.
Yeah.
You sing together.
Sing together.
Oh my god!
Yeah, finding that guitar is one of my favorite parts of that whole game.
I was. I think that was something specifically that I was like, pay attention.
Yeah,
Something's
yeah,
about to
yeah.
happen.
That was a part of the game that kind of bothered me a little bit
Really?
until the end. And where it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, I can see this. Like
Yeah.
I can logic my way to where we could have a musical moment in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my favorite moment in Bioshock 2 is his name Billy?
I cannot remember.
You find an audio log of a little boy talking about one of the little sisters. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
She's so pretty.
Yeah.
I love her. She's so pretty. And then you find the box, the wrapped present that he was going to give to her. And in all these other things that you open up, you think, you find like ammo, and you open it up and it's just a rose. And it's like, you find the little shot, she was pretty.
I did not want to open that box. I did not.
I know, because you're like, it's going to be a hand.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's a rose.
Yeah, I did not, because I know the audio log you're talking about, because when I listened to it, like, and I found the box, I was like, oh no, what horrors are waiting?
And it's just a fucking rose, and I wept, wept, and like
did
that,
too.
the guitar moment in there where they're just singing, it does such an amazing job of building a relationship, which then
Yeah.
of course makes the ending
So
devastating, so devastating. And Burial at Sea, I don't.
I think if you're worried about it, I think you shouldn't even go down the path.
I'll play it. I'll play it. I've been putting it off
Yeah.
because
I
Yeah.
have to.
Well, and it was hard to play
That means
because
it's
so
over when
much.
we play
Yes,
it.
it was hard to play
Yeah.
because so much of it was, this is it. This is the
Well,
end.
and that was specifically one thing that I said to Galen, because we finished Infinite and then immediately started Burial at Sea. And one thing that I wanted to stress to her is that at the very beginning of Burial at Sea, you see Elizabeth. And I had to stress to her, like, think about what it's like, the relationship that you build with Elizabeth, and then 9 months later or a year later, you get to see her again, because that's what it was like for me. That
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
because Galen got to immediately go right back into it. But the fact that I was able to be like, oh my God, Elizabeth, hi, after so long, it's a very different flavor than I'm used to in a video game, you know?
So you guys are going as Booker and Elizabeth for Dragon Con next year?
Jacob doesn't like to wear fucking costumes, though.
Oh, yeah. Prodigious actor Jacob. Okay.
That's right. My meme, my joy. Although I did get Jacob to agree last year that we didn't end up doing it, but I got him to agree that we could go as Catherine de Medici and Nostradamus from Rain, because Jacob just looks like the actor who plays Nostradamus on Rain. And I was like, if I just buy you the right color hoodie and I wear
was
like a
like,
fucking
if you
ball
buy me a
gown,
hoodie, I'll
and
wear
he
a
was like,
hoodie.
I'll do it. But I would have made him do a horrible French accent the whole time.
The only actual cosplay that Galen could totally talk me into is if we went to Dragon Con as Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
I want you to be Morty real bad.
But that's,
Real bad.
But that's also what we've talked about is that in real life, I'm the Rick.
Yeah.
This is Morty. Oh, Morty.
Are you gonna come with something else beside that?
Morty, listen. Just go back in the house. I don't know.
I remember that classic episode where Morty is outside of the house.
Morty, you don't want any part of this. You don't want any part of this, Morty. Just go back in the house. Go back to school. This is gonna be too much for you.
Have you ever watched Rick and Morty?
Fuck you. You're not helping me. I'm trying to do a thing and you're just staring at me. I don't know, Rick. Rick, I don't know about this. It doesn't seem like a good idea.
It's hard for someone who is not as already as strange as Dan Harmon to come up with Rick dialogue effectively.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because I was trying to think of something to throw in there, and I was just coming up blank, so I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Oh my god.
Just leaving me out there to dry. With me hanging me out to dry.
Morty.
That was a better Rick impression than the first one.
No, it was good. It was good.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so yeah, Bioshock Infinite. That was the closing thoughts.
Well, okay. I will say too, because we finished playing Bioshock 2 and we had started Infinite and then the TV died. And
Yeah.
it was about a year in between the TV dying and us getting to play Infinite. So the moment in Infinite when you go back to Rapture, I freaked the fuck out. I lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that moment is also the death of Songbird.
I was trying to figure out beforehand, before we went into it, I didn't know if it would be, if her primary feeling would be excitement that we were back in Rapture or sadness about the death of Songbird. Because the death of Songbird is, I rarely describe a video game as profoundly affecting, but to me, the death of Songbird is profoundly affecting. There's something about that moment that just clenches my heart, and I don't know why.
And see, for me, I saw Songbird more as her
Captor.
than as her friend.
Sure.
I mean, because he cared about her, but at the same time, he cares about her because that's his task. Like Songbird. I don't know that Songbird loves Elizabeth in a real way so much as he is bound to her. I was definitely, my overarching feeling in that moment was, oh my God, we're back in Rapture, what the fuck? I'm just so excited. And the ending, of course. I figured out that she was Anna. I figured out that Elizabeth was Anna, but I did not figure out that Anna was a baby. And when he opened the door and it was a crib. And of course, and in my mind, I was like, well, that's the big twist, isn't it? That's the twist. And that's not the big twist. That is one of the big twists.
Yeah.
And that last moment.
God, when the fucking portal is closing and the pinky is just like floating there before it drops. Woof. Emotions. My gosh.
I spent about 5 minutes after the game ended going, so he was Comstock? And Jacob's like, yes. And I was like, and the baby was Elizabeth? And he's like, yes. I'm like, so that was his daughter? Yeah. And now she killed him? Yes. Just like
Just confirming everything that she just saw.
again. Like, so sad.
I did the same thing, except Jacob wasn't there to
Except
say
Jacob
yeah.
wasn't there to go,
Yeah.
He called me,
Yeah.
and I was like, yes, that's one, yes,
Hey,
Dave.
Jacob. Man, this is really weird, but I got a few questions for you.
Dave, I'm asleep. I just finished
I haven't played
Bioshock
this
Infinite.
yet.
I'm up.
which is very similar to, I just watched Dear Zachary.
Yeah, come over. It's okay. If you need a hug, I'm here.
A friend of ours. This was actually before we started dating, but I heard this story. That's how funny I think this story is, that like a friend told me this story. Our friend Doug watched Dear Zachary.
Have either of you guys watched that?
No.
movie?
Never heard of this.
I don't know what it is.
Guys,
Fuck.
okay, yeah. I don't even want to go down
shut
this
it
path.
down. Let's watch it right
All
now.
you need to know is that our friend Doug watched Dear Zachary and was like, just felt awful. And did he call you?
Yeah, he called me.
He called Jacob.
I was on my way somewhere else. I was going to go do something else.
And called Jacob and was like, hey man, are you doing anything right now?
And I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to head out and do the why. What's up?
I just watched Dear Zachary.
Come over. Like, that's all it took. And I canceled my plans because it's basically it is it's a documentary, and it is about a guy whose best friend was murdered, and his best friend was murdered while
I know what this is now. Yes, I haven't seen it. I've heard of this.
And was
Please continue. I'm
almost
sorry.
certainly murdered by.
Oh no! Let's not go into that.
Okay,
Let's just
okay.
give his best friend was murdered, and but the woman that he was seeing at the time was pregnant with his child. So it's basically about this filmmaker going from coast to coast, talking to people who knew his best friend, so that he can give this movie as a gift to Zachary, his son, so that he can be like, this is who your father was. And it gets further, but I let me say this. I would absolutely not advise that anyone watch this movie because it is emotionally devastating.
You
the only-
have to watch it with a friend.
Like it's
You have to watch it with
the
a
saddest
friend.
movie I've ever seen.
Do not watch it alone. Or if you're going to watch
it's-
it alone, be prepared to immediately need to call your mom.
Yeah, and it's a documentary.
It's a documentary.
That's the only.
Happened.
It's the only movie I will watch at home.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
a
yeah, okay,
documentary.
I'll go for a documentary. All right.
Yeah, it's devastating.
And I would not advise watching it. That's how sad it was to me.
Yeah, it's awful.
So
All right, so we'll watch it for Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mystery
We can do-
Science.
Yeah, we can do like witty commentary. underneath the-
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Can we destroy something beautiful?
I will not listen to that episode.
No, something
Oh.
beautiful will destroy you.
The one where we start halfway through, we just start sobbing.
Yep. Tadpog, the one with all the crying.
So speaking of crying, South Park.
Stick of Truth.
So mad.
I haven't played it yet. I own it.
So mad.
I haven't played it.
It's fun. It's fun. And
hilarious.
Here's the problem
What
too.
I saw of it.
Here's what makes Galen so upset is that South Park is her favorite TV show.
I love South Park. I
so
love it.
it
I've
was a-
seen every episode.
It was
and
a great
I
big fuck
marathoned
you.
it. And it took me a year to marathon that show. Because, like, how do you watch 17 seasons of something?
So wait, you hadn't seen it?
I had seen episodes here and there, and this was like 3 years ago that after seeing episodes here and there and loving it, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna watch the whole series. Have you watched like the entire series, or have you seen any of the early seasons
Oh
recently?
yeah, not
Not
recently.
recently.
The thing that is so funny about it and so weird about it is that the show doesn't become a social commentary
Sure.
show until season like 8. And it was a solid show before then, but it's not until season 7 or 8 that it becomes South Park.
Yeah,
That it
once
becomes-
they got away from salty chocolate balls and moved on to
Yeah.
social commentary, then
Yeah.
then it was brilliant.
It,
after
and
that.
it is, it's just so fucking good. And when that show's great, it's amazing. And Stick of Truth does, from what I saw of it, which was not much, does a great job of being a hilarious video game. And I didn't know how
think
that
it's
was
pretty
going to
funny.
work. I think it's fun. It's funny. It's a funny game.
Yeah, it's I thought it was funny, and of course I immediately knew what class. One of my favorite moments, and I'm glad that you were there to experience it, because I knew immediately whenever we were getting down to like what class to play.
Well, because Jacob said, before it even started, he said, I know what class we're going to be. And I was thinking, okay, classes. I think the way it'll probably be broken down is that, like, if you're mage, you're with Kyle. If you're bard, you're with Butters. And I was like, oh, he's going to have us go with whatever Butters is, because he knows Butters is my favorite character. But actually...
But it's like fighter. It's essentially like fighter, magic user, thief, Jew.
Okay.
and then Cartman is telling you what it is. You can be an elf, a mage, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
or a Jew. And I fell down. I fell down laughing. Clearly, we're going to be a Jew.
So
Clearly, we're going to be a Jew.
and the thing that I think is so funny about it is that, particularly with that class, is that as you go on, you get new titles like general and commandant, whatever. But after you beat the final level, or when you get to where you're about to beat the final boss, you become king. And so you're immediately given Jesus robes and a crown of thorns.
Because you're the king
of the Jews. And it was just one of those jokes where it was like, man, it was there the whole time, and I didn't even see it coming.
Hilarious. And like, I don't know, and just the like South Park sense of humor of it is that at the beginning of the game, your character you're told by your parents, the way your parents are acting around you, you can infer that, like, this is a fucked up kid. This is a weird kid. He's been doing some weird stuff recently, and the family has moved to South Park because of the weird stuff that the kid has been doing that you like don't remember doing. They're like, oh, he doesn't remember. He doesn't remember this stuff. And they're treating him with kid gloves. And you go, and like the first kid you meet is Butters, yeah?
Yeah.
The first kid you meet is Butters, and Butters brings you to the backyard to meet Cartman. And Cartman says, what is your name? And a little text thing pops up. And I was like, Jeff, we're Jeff. And so Jacob types in Jeff and hits enter. And Cartman goes, douchebag? Did you say douchebag? And it pops up again, and you type
Yes
it.
or no?
And we typed no, and it popped up again, and you typed in Jeff again, and he goes, all right, douchebag. And they call you douchebag for the rest of the game.
So douchebag.
Just always everyone calls you douchebag. That's your name.
And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the game, after having played through it, is that I have a really good sense of the geography of South Park now.
I was about to ask how open is the
so
game.
weird.
I mean, it's you get to a point where on the left side of town and on the right side of town are the Lost Woods. And you can go through the Lost Woods and get into Canada. And whenever you get into Canada, if you cross into Canada, it turns into like a 16-bit.
May I remind you also
top
that
down.
in the geography of South Park, which happens in the most recent season, in season 19, you find out that you can cross directly from South Park, Colorado,
Right.
into Canada. So in the geography of South Park,
it's consistent.
Colorado
Yeah.
and Canada are right next to each other.
But it's open in that you can, wander through the town, but you're really only dealing with, like, I don't know. It was a small, whenever I loaded it onto the computer, it was a pretty small file size.
Okay.
Yeah.
you go to Shitty Walk,
Yeah, I mean, there's basically any place within sort of that has been on the show more than a couple of times you can go to. You can go to Kenny's house. You can go to any of the kids' houses. And they have the school. They have the community center. They have Shitty Walk. They have, Skeeters where you can get weaponry. They have the goth kids hanging out behind the school, stuff like that. But I thought generally it was sort of like fun and inoffensive. Like I never thought that any of my time was wasted, but when I was done, I was kind of happy I was done.
Just the right length then?
Yeah. It was, and
it's not a long game, right?
No, and I did everything.
How long did it take you?
Oh gosh, I can't remember. Tyrone could probably look it up on his Steam account.
Yeah, that's true.
Ballpark?
God, I have no 8 hours, 9
Okay.
hours,
Okay.
maybe.
And he played it all while I was at work.
Yeah, I got to a point.
One shift.
Well,
Did it all without me.
I got to a point where I kept waiting for her, and then eventually I was like, we're not going to be able to do this and Bioshock Infinite and Burial at Sea.
By the time he
Fuck
had to
it.
leave for Nashville.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna play it. Sorry,
So he played it without
deal with
me.
it. And it was fun, and it kind of confirmed some feelings I had about some characters in the South Park universe, like how there's always sort of an innate distrust and dislike of Clyde. And
The kids don't like Clyde.
like a real appreciation for
Scott Malkinson and his diabetes.
and like Butters is so sweet. He's just such a sweet, wonderful guy, and I love hanging out with him. I had a good time.
Sorry. I'm
But-
sorry for shouting.
17 hours.
Oh yeah. Well,
But see, I feel like Steam is tough, right? Because it's like, I think I have probably like 24 hours logged in Darkest Dungeon, and like probably 14 of those hours is me sleeping with it on.
Yeah, I have logged 68 hours into Shovel Knight. So,
but also at the very end, it turns out because they call they have you can fart and they call them dragon shouts, but it turns out to just be sort of like a big fucking joke on Skyrim at the very end, which I really enjoyed. Because I enjoy Skyrim, but it's like super fucking fantasy RPG. Like that's you.
Okay.
You are special, and here's why you're the Dragonborn. But yeah, I thought it was fun, but I also don't have a lot to say about it. It's just kind of
something-
like it's good. It's
Something
good.
that I really liked about it from the little bit that I got to watch is that the explanation for why you are able to, after you die, the reason that you come back to life is that it's just kids playing in the backyard. It's so when you die, Cartman's like, okay, get up, you pussy, do it again. And the mechanic of it, at least from what I saw, is is fun because ultimately in South Park, as crazy as South Park gets, occasionally you have these episodes where it's kids on a quest, like the Fellowship of the Return of the Two Rings is kids trying to return a video game or
Right.
trying to return a game or not a game, a DVD, and they don't know it's a porn. And it's kids, and what's so funny about it is that it's the parents freaking the fuck out because they know it's porn, and the kids are just like playing Lord of the Rings.
I didn't want to.
how was it,
interrupt
Token?
you.
I'm not playing anymore.
Yes.
I didn't want
I'm
to
done.
interrupt
I'm
you,
going
but
home.
for the record, that's not true because whenever
Oh,
you die
okay.
in the game, your restart screen is Mormons at the gates of heaven.
Oh my god.
So
So mad you played this without me. So fucking mad you played this without me.
so sorry.
Damn it. Well, at the beginning, when Cartman's first teaching you,
During
it's
the
just Cartman being like, you pussy, get back in the
Tutorial.
ring."
Yes.
Damn it.
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. What else?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Take 3 drinks.
How are we on time? Are we okay on time?
We're sitting at about an hour 10.
An hour 10? Okay, what do you want to do? You want to talk about what we've been playing or But you just want to shoot the shit or what?
I did. I took like 30 minutes talking about how furious I was at the Riddler trophy.
That was good. That was good. I like it. I enjoyed it.
That's good to know.
No, we can you guys keep talking some more. We'll save what Dave and I have been playing. Because I haven't beat the game I've been playing yet. So.
I haven't beaten the one that I played either.
What are you guys playing, though?
I definitely want to talk about it though at some point.
What are you? We don't have to go into it, but
Darkest Dungeon. Which I waited until it was on sale and kind of wish that I hadn't because I enjoyed it a lot.
oh yeah. I want to ask you what kind of game it is, but
No,
It's-
we'll hear about it later.
Tell you. I want to tell you. I want to talk about
Tell
it.
us. Tell us.
It is a roguelike dungeon crawler.
oh okay.
So it is pretty. I mean that there's been a resurgence in roguelikes recently.
Yeah.
Like crazy resurgence in roguelikes. So the way it works, it reminds me a lot of Rogue Legacy. The whole time I've been playing.
Now I'm on board.
Well, hold up. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. The whole time I've been playing this, I've been thinking about whether or not Tyler would enjoy it. That's been the thing in the back of my mind the entire time I played is would Tyler enjoy this game? There are aspects of this game that I think that you would really, really enjoy, and that is the Rogue Legacy style mechanic of you go and you adventure, and then there are adventurers that you play the ancestor or the predecessor of someone who owned a hamlet. That has gone into disrepair because centuries ago he heard that there was something of power underneath his manor. So he excavated underneath there, and then something happened that he found something, he discovered something that set the hamlet in complete disarray.
So your liar exaggerate, unearthing the golden statue from underneath Onet.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. It's super Lovecraftian in that regard, where it's like he finds something under there that drives everybody who excavated mad. And then like that's the opening is him writing you this letter, and then the closing scene is him grabbing a gun on his desk, and then it cuts to the outside of the manor, and you hear a gunshot.
And then it cuts back inside with a close up of the bullet wound.
Yeah, it's just like what? DMX is like what?
Remember when this happened? Holy shit!
So the art style is like Mike Mignola, Hellboy, and like that is all it fucking took for me. Honestly, the game could be shit because the aesthetic is so amazing, and they really like do that to the hilt. Like I don't know how they get away with it, honestly, because it looks so much like a Hellboy comic. It's fucking beautiful, and so. Your job as this person's, I think, grandson is to hire adventurers to try to reclaim the hamlet. So you're putting them through an amazing amount of stress and hardship to reclaim your former glory. And I love my favorite I guess my second favorite thing. My favorite thing's the art style. My second favorite thing about the game is once it fucking loads, it says. This is a game about making the best out of a bad situation. And it straight up says your favorite heroes, you're gonna love heroes, you're gonna build them up, they're gonna become your favorite, and they are going to die in front of you. And it's about making decisions on like who you're going to save. It all on this screen it says there will be quests that you will not be able to finish. There will be consequences to not finishing the quests. So it lets you know right up front that this is going to be a punishing game.
Oh my gosh.
And so you know, it's like I didn't know if I was going to get in like a Dark Souls situation or I'm going to be super frustrated. But the way it works is there's a caravan in town where you hire adventurers, and they've got a whole bunch of different classes. You create a group of 4. You create a party of 4, and you send them to a part of the manor. And you get a map, and this is where it kind of turns into like Diablo a little bit, where you do a dungeon crawl.
Okay.
But it's all 2-dimensional, and all of the combat is turn-based. And this is some of the most exciting turn-based fighting I've experienced since Bravely Default. And it's not because of any like cool mechanics that like Bravely Default had. Everything's very cinematic. Like if there is an attack, it's not just straight up like here's your shot. You guys are on the left, the enemy's on the right. They will do like interesting camera pans. They do things with interesting framing and very simple effects that add to the atmosphere.
Yeah,
the music is wonderful. The game is one of those games where it's like I didn't realize that Josh Nance of Uniracers fame was playing, but he saw me playing it on Steam and we started texting back and forth. So now it's like Josh and I are texting back, okay, well, what if you make a group where you got the occultist and then you've got the Hellion, and the occultist heals the Hellion and she can stop the bleed effect from his heal by using her rage. And it's like there's just fucking layer upon layer upon layer of like how you can strategize and go in.
That sounds really interesting.
It sounds like a very positive review so far.
So far I love it, and I am nowhere near finishing it. Like nowhere near finishing it, because there's like 5 areas of the manor, and I've unlocked 4, but have not even ventured into 3 of those.
Oh
Wow.
So it's I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether you'd like it or not, Tyler. I think that you would. I'm just not. I think it's all going to come down to whether or not you like the combat.
Okay. I'll check it out. I miss a good... I mean, that's what was nice about Bravely Default, because I hadn't seen anything... I like turn-based is, what I grew up on, so I hadn't seen good turn-based combat in a long time. So I'm eager to check it out then.
I would recommend it. I don't know. What sucks about it is I played it on Steam, and I know for PC you can only get it... It's only available on Steam and the Humble store. So whenever you have a game where it's like only on those 2... platforms, it's pretty rare when it goes on sale, as opposed to like Bioshock, which I know is like fucking everywhere. So it was easy to find that game on sale. So, but for $12, no regrets.
I stopped because I had to start playing Majora's Mask, and I want to finish Majora's Mask, but I can't make myself finish Majora's Mask yet. So I haven't gone back to finish the first game, which is Persona Q on the 3DS.
Which one is that? Because there's been a whole bunch of Persona games that come out. Oh, Q! It's the one where you play the Bond character? Is that a Bond character?
Because...
No, Star Trek.
Okay, all right. The anime Star Trek.
Because I bought a Vita. A Vita.
Never mind.
I bought Madonna in costume. Hang out. It's fine.
She looks great.
Man, did you get a
Her
deal?
arms, like, she give me so many handjobs without getting tired. Those arms. But there weren't a ton of Vita games that appealed to me. But I'd heard so many good things about Persona 4 Golden. So on a lark, I just bought it, checked it out. I think I talked about the show briefly. Initially, I was turned off by it because I was stressed out about the schedule. Like, you have to go to school these days and do these activities and interact with these people. And then
So a lot like Majora's Mask so far.
Well, yeah, shortly, and I was like writing stuff down. I was like, okay, well, I have to go tutor somebody on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. and I have to try to get a night job. Okay, during the day, I'm going to join these clubs.
So this is like real life, essentially. Where
this sounds like a game that I played on the PC when I was like 13, where I was like a girl in school, and I played it for a while, and then I was like, why am I playing this game? This is what I do.
You guys, we accidentally replaced Tyrone's Persona Q with Club Penguin.
Every time I say fuck, I can't play the game for 2 days. But I was stressed out about that because half the day is high school simulator where your character, every character in the game has a different tarot sign. And depending on what tarot cards you have different abilities. The main character is the Fool. And the Fool you play the Fool in both 3 and 4. And the Fool has the ability to change personas. Everyone else is locked into a persona. But the Fool can change and mix everything with his personas. Okay. So he's technically the most powerful one, but his power depends on your relationships with the other tarot cards and the stronger you are with like the Tower, the more powerful the tower cards are that the Fool can take and use.
Okay. So you can
So-
kind of like strategize
Yeah,
your group makeup and all
because you
that?
basically you have 1 year to complete the game, and every day of the week you have to decide.
And then it just burns up.
Yeah,
It just catches on fire. You're done, fucker. You shouldn't have put it off.
Hope you finished.
so you have to decide like what clubs you join, because like if you decide to play soccer, then
Yeah.
you make friends
With
with
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah.
Callback.
Constantly complaining.
If you
that
play
he
for the
didn't
football
make
Didn't make the
football
football
team.
team.
You play for the football team. You get to hang out with the actual popular kids.
Well, or you can join like another after-school activity to join drama,
Yeah.
and then
You
like,
get to hang out with a Vita.
but then like when it comes Tuesday, you have to decide: are you going to soccer practice or are you going to rehearsal?
Okay.
And then depending on what you go to, your relationship strengthen with a different part of the tarot.
Okay.
So that's all your day activity. And your nighttime activity, you go inside a different dimension that is bleeding over into reality where people are getting murdered.
What?
So then, so during the day, you're trying to get stronger. So at night, you can solve this series of murders where your friends at high school are turning up dead.
Are you just exhausted all of the time?
Pretty much.
Don't
It's a
sleep.
year of no sleep.
So I was frustrated at first because the scheduling was driving me crazy, and then I got to a hump in the game where it was just like I was dying over and over and over again. But once I played it long enough to realize like I don't have to keep track of anything every day, the game will tell you this is what is available today and this is what is available tomorrow. So then every day you can just like, okay, well I did this the other day, and it's once I realized that, okay, that stress vanished. And
Yeah.
then once I eventually beat that hump that I got to, then the whole rest of the game, everything else fell into sync. And I thought Persona 4 Golden was fantastic. Fantastic. I loved every minute of it after that point.
There's a dancing game, right?
There is. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, no. As much as I love it, like, no, I'll pass.
Which one is that? Because when you said Persona Q, I was like, is that
Wait,
the
like-
dancing
It's
one?
not, no.
Like a persona, like, are you talking about like Pump It Up?
Like DDR?
No, it's like a Japanese rhythm game where like the Persona 4 characters are dancing to
Okay.
Timed.
So like Elite Beat Agents.
sort, yeah.
Which I really want to play, by the way.
Totally forgot to bring it. I'm so sorry.
No, I didn't say that as like a. I totally
No,
wanna
I know,
play that.
but
I didn't
like-
bring it.
As
I
in,
just,
like,
I just
fuck
as
you.
an interesting, like, I really want to play that game.
Oh, it's-
and like I remember you talking that game way up.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I had such a great time playing Elite Beat Agents.
It's probably like on iOS or something by now, right? Something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, and I also don't know if it would be on a. I think the music clearance is probably an issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But
Only time will tell.
4 was great, and I turned right around and immediately downloaded 3
Oh
and
yeah.
played through 3. And 3 is the same concept. During the day, you're going to school, building relationships. At night, only instead of going to this other dimension where people are being murdered. In Persona 3, only people who can manifest personas can realize that there are actually 25 hours in a day. And during this last hour in a day, everybody else
Fucks.
fucks.
They just.
Everybody else goes full on Sunday Galen's parents, and they're
Man.
just
High
fucking
school.
apples
rolling everywhere.
Apples and popcorn.
Popcorn. just-
1 hour nap.
It's like The Shining, but instead of the walls bleeding, it's just popcorn coming
Yeah,
out.
everyone who's awake is like hungry.
yum.
They haven't been fed.
Yeah.
This is fucking.
Yeah.
Yum.
Now during the 25th hour or I think they call it the 13th hour. Everybody who can't manifest appears to be covered inside of a coffin, and you can't interact with them or do anything to them. But the world sort of changes in this 13th hour. You and a few other people who don't have the same goals as you do are awake.
Yeah.
And in the center of Tokyo, there is this just enormous tower that goes up as tall as anyone can see. And all the characters find themselves drawn to this tower. And when you go inside, you just feel compelled, like they don't know why. They just have to climb this tower. They have to get to the top. And as you start to climb it, then things start looking more and more fucked up and strange, and you discover more about the 13th hour and these creatures that are coming out of the tower and trying to ruin the world, and it's all about climbing to the top, and it's hundreds of floors. You can only do so many at a time.
Yeah.
And then, just getting to the top of the tower. And Persona 3, I loved it as well.
So is it like a dungeon crawl like at that point when you're going up the tower or?
Yeah, at night it's sort of like a dungeon crawl.
And you can you save in the tower?
You can
and then,
save
when day comes,
every so many floors you can save.
Okay.
And you can leave the tower. But if you leave and go back to rest in your room, of course you sleep through the night and you can't progress again. You can only go into the tower at night, or it's at its strongest during a full moon, and that means when you go into the tower, it's a story point. But every night you can go in and fight and try to climb higher.
I hope this is isolated to Japan, because it sounds like it's
The tower.
too spooky for America. I don't think I can do it.
So then your high school students, that they basically form this club where they find people who can stay awake during the 13th hour, and you're the newest student who they find you awake.
The non-coffiners.
The non-coffiners, yep.
That's fun.
So it was fantastic. I love all the characters of 3 and 4. So Q, which I thought was really strange because the other two are for Vita, this one's for 3DS. So when I play it, and what it turns out, it is the same style of game as Etrian Odyssey, which is a huge 3DS series.
Sure.
And it is pretty strictly about dungeon crawling and making your own map, and it's like a first person. So
You said making your own map, and I couldn't have rolled my eyes any harder. It was just,
I think it's funny because my reaction was
cartography.
all right, fucking graph paper, let's do this shit.
you get to in the top of you have to play on the 3DS. It doesn't work in another format. So the top screen is the first person of you going through the maze, and the bottom screen is where you'll move and a box will light up and you're making your map, and you have tools to fill in, there's a treasure here, there's a door I can't open here, there's a stairway leading down here, there's a boss here, and it's all about you're trapped. It's basically, so it's not exactly, it has Persona elements in an Etrian Odyssey game, so then it's in this strange happenstance, the characters of 3 and 4 come together. So then you can mix and match the characters from 3 and 4 with their unique abilities, and then progress through this. They're trapped in their school.
So are you drawing the map on the 3DS? Or,
yes.
Oh, see, maybe I'm out then.
Well, I mean, you're not drawing it. You're just as you walk, it fills in
okay.
Zelda.
So you're not making notes and stuff.
It fills in the squares.
Yeah.
But then it's up to you to have the toolbox where it has an icon for a door, an icon for stairs, an icon for trapdoor, and then you'll just drag and drop into where it is.
Okay, I'm all for that because it's every game I've ever played on the 3DS where it's make notes on the bottom screen. It's been
no.
It's an hour, just trying to spell something, just write it. Okay, that's where's the erase tool? My A looks like a 4. No erase tool. Okay, I guess I'll just scribble that out. And
no, it's done well for that kind of thing.
It sounds like a fan service game, and I don't mean that in a negative manner. I think that's useful and valuable, but
it's for that's what when you talked about borrowing it, I was like, no, this isn't the one you start on. No, this is not at all.
Which is a shame because the 3DS I feel is so much more accessible than other portable gaming systems.
Yeah, I agree.
But you're both. It's a big fair at your high school, and the visiting high school from 3 is coming to see it. And whenever you all get there, then something happens, and you realize you're trapped in the school. All the other students aren't real. They're figments of somebody's imagination, so you can't really interact with them.
If I had a nickel.
And all the rooms, all the display rooms from
None of you were
from
real.
3 and 4
Except for the guy with the
suddenly
beard.
are there, and you can walk through. And every in Persona 4. There's just Japanese students have a day where they all have to design a room for this festival, and it's been in several Japanese games that I've played. They all talk about this, so I guess it's a traditional thing. Every year, Japanese students do this festival, and there's an awkward part in 4 because everyone's what should our theme be? And the
dicks,
the pervert of the group is I think we should make it like a group date cafe where it's like students can come there to go on group dates together. And everybody's like, that sounds like it would suck. Okay, well, let's just draw. Let's everybody put an idea in a hat and we'll draw it out, whatever it is we do. So then they draw out group date cafe and that part of the game, like all the students hate it. It's miserable. They raise no money. I mean, it's awful. So in Persona Q, you're exploring the school and you find group date cafe and all the characters on the floor go, oh fuck. So then you have to go in and it becomes the group date cafe dungeon full of like Cupid monsters and everybody's like bitching about it. So
I think that sounds really cool. I do think that the school pervert needs to up his game. I think that's a title that must be like a really conservative school where it's like, that's the pervert. He's like, I think we should all date and have fun.
well, I think I can sell you.
Yuck.
I think I can sell you on playing Persona 3 with one detail, like because all these people who can stay awake in the 13th hour and manifest personas, and then it turns out there was another individual that they couldn't get to in time before he was murdered by the nightmares that come out. But he was murdered in front of his dog. So whenever he is killed, his persona then manifests to his dog.
Okay.
So then the dog then joins your party with his persona and he's an active member of your party.
I like that. I like to think that he's one of the dogs from Earthbound. Just one of the talking dogs.
Yeah. He's a dog that wears a bodysuit, sort of like the coach will wrap around dogs, the thunder jackets.
Yeah.
It's like that with angel wings. So that's what he uses to like attack with his bites and things like that. So
You know me.
That's
I'm on board.
Dog with angel wings.
Which one is that?
Pretty adorable.
3?
he's Shiba Inu. Yeah,
Oh,
Persona 3.
even fucking better.
Yeah.
Persona 3? Okay, cool. My only experience with Persona is watching Lord Matt play it when we were in middle
And that was
school.
probably 1 or 2. And I've heard 1 or 2 are still good games, but they're crazy grind fests. Like, ridiculous to the point, like, they're almost unplayable now for how heavy of a grind fest they are. So that's why I was like, okay, no, I can't do that.
You're drawing the line there.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm interested, but there's no way I could do it.
Yeah.
Fuck that. We're adults. Ain't got no
Yeah.
time to grind
Yeah.
like that.
Because like in
that.
Persona, every single item in the game can become a 100 floor dungeon.
Dude.
What the fuck?
So like you can buy a potion, then go inside the potion, run through 100 floors, and then it becomes an elixir.
Oh, man.
Or like you buy
Doesn't that sound like a game specifically designed to kill Dave?
Oh, man. Wow. But what's fucked up is like Darkest Dungeon is totally grindy.
Yeah.
But it's like I like grinding in like just bite-sized chunks
Sure.
where it's like there's gonna be a bunch of this stuff, but don't worry, you're gonna do it in like 20-minute increments.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be whenever we fucking put you on the desert island, we'll put you on there with Persona 2.
Because
And then-
in my understanding, like it gets just exponentially difficult every floor. So if you're really pushing it, you have to be super careful because if you die, you're kicked out and you lose that progress you made into making this item better.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ever since you said desert island, I'm kind of on board. Because honestly, that does sound like something I would really enjoy.
If it's just to like fill your
If it's
time,
like I have
If you have
absolutely
nothing in your
nothing
life,
to do.
no goals.
And I'm like not really sure that I want to slip into darkness yet. Where it's like, I guess I'll just play Persona until I fucking die of exhaustion out here.
That's it.
That's gonna be the game that like Nikki gives you when you're like 75 and like, yeah, I'm not ready to die yet, but
I wish there was something I could do that wasn't sinful.
Because I don't know, you're just saying that
so
reminded me
focused
of
on sin for some reason in your older
no,
age.
I mean, you know how I got in my 70s.
there's the element in 3 that in order to a character in 3 to summon their persona, they need an intense emotional experience.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for all the characters,
They watched Dear Zachary.
they watched They all carry guns
They kill
and
themselves,
commit
right?
suicide.
Yeah.
So that emotional rush before you kill yourself brings up the persona.
Yeah, I don't know. No.
I wish there was a way for people to see the face that I made when you said it. Just like, what?
Everyone kills themselves except for one guy who fucking like watches the Avengers. Oh man.
Wasn't that awesome, you guys? What happened? Persona!
X-Men First Class.
As soon as when Xavier takes a bullet to the spine. Well, like, because you're all high school seniors for the most part, except for the dog, and then you find a
Who's a junior?
I hope he's like in the yearbook. Yeah,
He's a junior.
like president of like the chess club.
History.
He made the football team.
well, there's that. I saw it on Reddit, so I went and liked him on Facebook. There's
The dog?
like, Bubba the cat, who is like, there's a woman who like lives by a high school. I forget what the state. But like she has this cat, and the cat likes going inside the high school and like hanging out with students. So
Yeah.
there's like a Facebook group with like 1,000+ likes about like picture this cat who'll like wander into classrooms and climb in people's laps and just hang out. And he's just like a student there. He's in the yearbook. He's in. They love this cat.
They don't test well at that school, so he has been the valedictorian 4 times.
But they're another character is like an 11-year-old boy whose parents sent him off to boarding school. So he's just been like terrified and alone whenever he wakes up, just surrounded by coffins, and he can't talk to anybody. But
Yeah, that'd be kind of weird thing.
they find him,
You
and
get
he
used
can't.
to it though.
You see, like he wants to. They give him a gun, and he tries to hold it to his head to summon his persona, and he can't do it. He's still too scared to do that. So he's the only character that shoots himself in the stomach, and then to make his persona come out. So they have a lot of cool details in the game.
What if you were a mortician and you never realized your entire life that you were one of these special people because you're just surrounded by coffins all the time?
Do you think that at one point you'd be like, why don't you meet me at like 13 o'clock?
Yeah.
Someone would be like,
Wait a minute.
hold on.
Someone would go, that's not real.
Just meet me at the mortuary, 13 o'clock. Not a big deal.
Well, so that's the thing. Like that's a weird moment in 3 and 4. That alternate universe exists inside the television, and there's something called the Midnight Channel that you can watch once a month. The TV has to be off once a month at midnight. You can watch the Midnight Channel, and then during the rain, and you'll see someone basically spilling their deepest, darkest secret. Like,
Oh my God.
one kid is like, basically like this big tough bully comes out as gay on the Midnight Channel.
Okay.
And then the next day he's not at school. And then 2 days after that,
Because he lives in Russia.
2 days after that, you find him dead, murdered and dead somewhere in the city. So people say, like, you watch the Midnight Channel,
Yeah.
and you'll see somebody right before they die. And then, but you realize, like, the main character realizes he can put his hand into the TV at that point, and enter the TV and enter that dungeon, and then go inside and save the person.
Whereas
before they
everybody
die.
else was just like, guess I'm going to watch somebody about to die.
Yep.
This sounds fun.
Yep.
I
So-
know what we'll do.
Our next podcast is the Midnight Channel, where we have people come on and they tell us their darkest secret, and then they mysteriously die.
Yep.
Who knows how it happened?
Because you see like the perverted character, like he has a huge crush on this girl he works with.
Yeah.
And he sees her on TV talking about how much she hates her job and hates him and hates everything. And he's heartbroken. She disappears. Then he finds her. He finds her on top of like the school skewered on the flagpole, dead. So then he has to figure out like what happens. So
So, what age range do you think that the game? No, like this is a
E
serious
for
question.
everyone.
What do you think their target audience is? Because it seems like some pretty dark themes. Like,
Yeah,
you'd
at
think
first
it-
when you were describing it, I was like, oh yeah, this sounds like a high schooler again. Now I'm like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, dark elements. So you go outside the TV and you meet like a bumbling fuzzy teddy bear who
Right.
helps you on your adventures.
Yay!
like Danganronpa.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's it's probably not rated mature, but I don't know. I can see older teens to mature probably.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
But they're good stuff. And then I look forward to going. I'm halfway through Q whenever I stop to do Majora's Mask.
So you'll never play it again.
Maybe not.
Because you're never going to play Majora's Mask again.
All right, so we're pretty over. We should probably
Yeah,
call
okay.
it there.
All right. How over are we?
Pretty over.
An hour 40 right now.
An hour and 40 over?
No, we're at an hour 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say, holy shit.
We're at 3.5 hours.
Wow.
We're in the 13th hour.
No wonder.
Jacob talked for a long time about Arkham Origins.
He
We're
would
an hour and
not
40 over.
shut up about Arkham
So, Tyler-
Still
Origins.
talk about it more. I'm furious.
How many Riddler trophies were in Persona Q?
Well, just the one after you went through 200
Yeah.
hours, but it was so worth it.
I jumped inside a potion and ran 500 levels of a dungeon. I got a Riddler trophy.
God, that's what it felt like. Fuck that.
What do you think the art should be for this episode, guys? Because I am coming up with absolutely nothing.
Popcorn and
The
apples.
Riddler trophy.
Popcorn and apples.
Apples.
All right.
Parents fucking popcorn and apples.
All right. All right. Popcorn and apples.
Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. So don't miss the next episode. We will be finishing up with our part 2 of Dorkly's Top 25 N64 games with Majora's Mask. No.
The better one.
Orochimaru of Time.
That was cool. That sounded like you guys were like a demon or something.
Yeah,
No, we rehearsed that.
demon.
Can we do it again and I'll go high pitched on it?
So next time we'll be finishing up with
Orochimaru of Time.
We're a demon now.
Yay.
iTunes, biggest marketplace. Please go there. 5-star written iTunes review. If there's a game you want us to play, guess what you want for an episode, please leave that there. It helps us out a lot. Whatever you put, we promise we will get to it
Eventually. Don't worry, guys. Like Tyler said, we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about the Orochimaru of Time. In the meantime, if you can't get enough TADPOG, you can always find us on tadpog.com. That's where the show notes live. I got some show notes going right now. I think you'll enjoy them. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of callbacks. It's going to be great. You can find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/TADPOG. There's a lot of cool people there. They're doing a lot of cool shit. Galen probably has not shared this episode on Facebook because of
Nope.
popcorn and apples.
Don't tag me.
But I think I will.
Yeah.
I think that this is.
We're just
I'm
gonna
gonna put
have
it
to.
on. I'm gonna put it on cassette and mail it to you.
We're just gonna have to get really fancy and technical on Facebook and do that thing where we like make it so my parents can't see that it's been shared.
yeah.
Because like I don't want to take any fucking risks with this.
You just have to unfriend your parents for like a week and then refriend them. It's
Fine. They won't even
They know
notice,
how to
right?
scroll. Okay, they're not idiots.
Well, see, my mom would have no idea.
Galen, why did you talk about me and your father having sex?
If you think that's the tone she'd be using,
Galen.
She's like a female Wario.
It's time for some real greed.
So yeah, we're on Facebook. If you have anything to say,
Now I won't share it. Since I did my impression of your mom.
nope. I did mine too.
Which is still more flattering than your impression of your mom.
I love my mother.
clearly,
I love
yeah,
my
no,
mother.
we get it.
Dad, not so much.
she's
But I
just-
love my mother.
She's just kind of a caricature.
To be fair, I think I'm a caricature of
Oh,
my
yeah.
mother.
Yeah.
So we're on Facebook. Hey, you got something to say about fucking popcorn and apples? I don't know. Fucking go there and post it, I guess.
God, that's gonna be our new code for for sex.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Galen, for the gift
You're
you brought
welcome.
us.
No longer do you have to tell people you're taking a nap.
An entry for the TADPOG lexicon: popcorn and apples.
Corn and apples. It means your parents are fucking.
You can find us on Twitter. We are at tadpog_podcast. It's cumbersome, I realize. Thank you to everybody who's retweeting us, especially our episode posts, because that helps spread the word to the people who probably don't want to listen to it, but you're forcing it on them so frequently they're like, I guess I'll give this a try.
I mean, what's all the fuss about?
I guess I'll look into this. So thank you very much. You can call us if you want to be on one of our all-call shows, or maybe at the end of an episode, call us at 270-883-2555. We love questions. What's did your parents ever have sex?
Ever.
Did they ever do that?
You were so cool. Did your parents ever
Did they
have
ever
sex?
do? Did you? What do you think? What snacks did you eat when your parents?
What,
What do you think
what
it
was the
was
snack
like?
bowl your parents sat
What
at
were
when they
you
were going to
doing
fuck?
when your parents were having sex? What were you doing?
I know mine
Crying.
was mine was
Think about it.
mine was fruit snacks. You remember the shark bites?
Yeah.
That's what I ate when my parents fucked.
My mom would give me gushers and giggle ironically.
I'm hoping that I will be able to come back for another all call show before I'm done with my show in Nashville. That's my hope, is that I'm gonna be back for at least one more show.
We can make that
All right,
happen.
yeah, let's do it.
That's my hope. Fingers crossed.
I bring your submarine.
Oh,
Yeah, like old time.
I'm going to.
Finally, thank you for everybody who's donated to us on Patreon. That's a really cool thing.
Yes.
And it's super, super nice of you to do. It's one of those things where it's cool knowing that people care enough about this show to donate money. If you would like to do that, if you'd like to donate, you can find us at patreon.com/tadpog. Once again, totally optional. We are working on some bonus content though, to reward the people who are donating. So thank you.
Hint, hint, hint.
Boner pics.
Boner pics.
I will do that. I will do that. Want to see my boner?
Not above
Fine.
it.
Not at all.
That's. I feel like that's the $5 tier.
See our dicks. $5 a month.
no $5 for one of our dicks, $10 for both.
$10 for both.
Unless
And
we're willing
you
to
get-
buy one get one.
I don't know. Then we have to decide who has the more premium dick.
No, I don't think so.
And
We just switch
you
them out.
You can
You just
choose.
get to choose,
You can
yeah.
choose.
Yeah.
We don't
Either
say which
Dave
one
or
is which.
Tyrone.
Do you want to
Yeah,
see a
like
bearded
that.
dick
And
or a
you get-
bespectacled dick?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one with red pubes is probably time.
We have. Oh,
you
problem
get-
solved. We got to shave clean. Got to shave clean.
Done.
And you get one new picture a month of so that you can track changes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And like if
It'll
you're
be
on
like a Riddler puzzle. So you can,
Yeah.
if you're on vacation, you'll try and get it and it's here is this in a hotel room.
yeah.
We'll have physical sliding puzzles made with the photographs of our dicks that we'll mail to you.
Yeah.
I love it. Then your kids can play with them. That's great. Share the love.
they're wildly unpopular. Our dick puzzles for kids.
Dick puzzles.
Only because we live in America. I mean, if we.
And they're,
we were
they're
in-
huge in
We're
Europe.
in Europe.
Yeah. Oh,
Wouldn't be a
man.
big deal.
You know,
Wouldn't be a problem.
so-
The French, this shit's so classy.
We put cute cat ears on them, and they're huge in Japan. It just
Your dicks are huge in Japan.
God damn it! I was about to say that. How dare you? How dare you?
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you.
So mad.
that it? That it?
I have things to plug.
Please plug away, actors.
Plug it.
I'm doing Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead for Nashville Repertory Theater. I have said that it's running through October 31st, so there's another couple of weeks to catch it if you want. Also, I will say this later if I'm on it again, but I believe November 24th, Paternity Leave, the movie that I was in, comes out on DVD and
Yeah.
video on demand. So if you want to watch me make out with guys,
I do.
then
yeah.
I drove to Atlanta just to watch it.
yep.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty sensual.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galen was shocked at how hot she thought it was.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. I
How,
was like,
how Jacob can kiss a man the same way he kisses a girl that he loves.
Yeah.
He's very good at it.
I was like, I know, really.
I'm an actor.
This is another parent story. I talk to my mom on the phone every fucking day. And she was like, is it weird to watch the movie? Is that weird? And I was like, no, it's actually, I don't know, it's cool to watch it and be like, oh, that's I know that's like the human that is my boyfriend, but like he's acting and he's like seems really into it. He's not my boyfriend. He's this character.
It was weird jerking him off while we watched it.
And then my mom was like, well, I don't think your dad and I are going to watch it. And I was
I
like,
expected that.
That's fair.
But yeah, you can find out more about that by going to paternityleavefilm.com, or, of course, as always, you can go to my Facebook page, which you can find at tinyurl.com/Jacob York. Find out more information there.
I am heading back to Biloxi this Christmas to do Santa and Friends on Ice, which you may remember from ridiculous pictures of me backstage last year that ended up in the show notes. So if you're going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi around Christmas or Thanksgiving, you should come check that out. And I am also on Facebook at facebook.com/Galen C. Galen, the letter C.
Look at that. We're pros at this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are
Let's
very
see.
Marketing.
Galen, our theme song.
Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba.
Yeah.
It is today. It is
We
today.
paid so much money.
Wow, I don't know how she fucking do that.
I'm on
Fuck.
it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
Jacob, you help her out.
Moves by Sycamore Drive.
Oh, well, whatever. You sure it's not Tub Thumping?
I feel confident.
We tried.
Yeah, the Patreon's not that big
Yeah.
yet. We're not tub thumping big.
That's not
it
your
got
fault.
down. It hasn't gotten up again.
yeah.
But damn it, you were never going to keep it down.
We're not even Gin Blossoms big yet.
I could really go for a whiskey drink.
We could do this all night long if we wanted to.
And we will.
Yeah.
Just not on the mic.
We're pretty close to Goo Goo Dolls money, though. We're pretty
Hey.
Man, I don't know. Goo Goo Dolls.
close. Cranberries money?
You guys are just like naming 90s bands that I want to listen to now.
was
That's
gonna
all
say,
that you're
have you
doing. I
listened
want to
to
go listen to
Iris
Gin
at all?
Blossoms now. I want to go listen to the Goo Goo Dolls. Cranberries, I could give.
Everclear.
No.
Stone Temple Pilots.
It's like, I'm going to throw in something Jacob won't like.
Third Eye Blind.
We heard Third Eye Blind today. Anyway.
How do you want to close it out?
I think
But what?
We're going to link to that track be found, Jacob. Or Galen.
What?
Do you know where a link to that track can be found?
The link to the song Moves. Where can a link to
Oh,
that track
fuck.
be
I don't
found?
remember.
It's the same place where you could find pictures of you in Biloxi last year.
Oh, the show notes.
What's the website for those show notes?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, no, I hate you assholes.
What's the name of this show?
Fredpog. Tadrog.
At tadpog.com.
Thank you.
Jadcog.
Jadcock, Jacob, and Dave complaining old grannies.
Man, Jacob, what's up with grannies though?
Number one, I'm
Yeah.
sick of the fucking strawberry candies.
Yeah.
Wait, I know that you didn't buy them. I know you got them someplace. Do not, under any circumstances, get a crumpled up napkin out of the bottom of your purse for me to blow my nose with. I don't appreciate it.
No one appreciates it.
What else?
If they steal Spice Girls videos from the local Minute Mart, that's nice. And if they were disguises, it's even better. Oh, my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
How do we want to close it out, you guys?
Let's sing a song.
We should Rick.
Yes, we're all Rick.
All right. Everybody's Rick? Is that how,
Yeah,
how we're
everyone's
ending
Rick.
So until next time,
Tropical Capricorn. Morty, is it tropical?
this? Oh, leave me alone.
You know what's the funniest name of any of the amiibos? Dark Pit.